Okay, guys, we're going to try this again. We're going to try this again. I was halfway through this thing, and them demonic powers out there had shut it down. So I've tried it 3 times here. I want to get this out. They don't want this out. I guarantee you. The Dragon speaks for you. Number 4 and the letter U. Put a Gmail on it. That's my Gmail. Okay. I'm probably going to get some mail from this. That's fine. I want to. You guys, you got any questions on it? Let me know. You're gonna need some help on some of you on this. Okay, but I want to put out some information. You got a hashtag for Dragon Speaks for You for Instagram at Dragon Speaks for You for YouTube. Okay, for the rest of my videos. This one here is going to be a special video I'm going to put out. You guys have been asking. I'm going to put out some answers you guys have been asking on this. How does he do this? How does he do that? A lot of them. And the demonic is looking right now too. They want to know. Because I advertised it already on YouTube, on Facebook, that I'm going to put out this video. So they're probably sitting around waiting for it to come out. Because they want to know. Okay? So they're going to have to watch the whole thing. Because I'm going to put out some information. They don't want this information out. Okay? But a lot of you have been asking, for those that, of the general public that are not involved in all this, you want to know, and it's going to help you because it's going to keep you protected and safe from all of this affecting you and coming at you. Okay? Even though you don't know about it, or maybe you don't believe in it, or whatever, it's definitely there. Okay, there's a satanic agenda. There's a satanic agenda. It's worldwide. It's coming from high places. I'm talking. There's government people involved. There's law enforcement involved. There's high-ranking businesses. There's these churches involved. Different, and I'm not talking about the whole thing. I'm talking there's people in these entities. There's entities in these positions that on the side, they're involved in this stuff. A lot of them in child trafficking that, it's going on. There's, certain entities in different little cults they put together, little cults and stuff they put together, There's church cults and stuff like that. These people are going to church and they're all in smiles and praising God, but they're praising the wrong God, you know what I mean? But, so it's interesting when they go, no, I'm protected by God, Well, some of these you question because I've heard it. I've got that discernment and I can hear when they say that, well, the Lord. Well, what Lord is it? Because I can hear there's something different about how that word comes out of their mouth. It's not the Lord Almighty. It's not the Lord, the Almighty Lord. Okay. It's not the one I serve. I know that. And there's a Lord of this earth too, and, that's it, it's interesting to me, but I catch all this stuff. I just don't say anything. Okay. That's how you got to be. That's how you got to be. I'm telling you, that's how you're going to win this. Okay. If people want to know how do you go through all this hell? Because some people know what I went through, especially those that put it out there and tried to take me down. They thought they had me, but I outwitted them. Okay. And I needed to know what I needed to know. You understand? And they're angry. They're pissed off. That's why they're attacking me. They got to figure out a way. And they've been trying for months. They've been trying for years, actually. And they thought they had me because it was going okay. But once it got to a point where it got too, once I seen it, that was it, and that's what you got to do. I don't know some of you if you'll get there, but I, I dealt in a lot of that back in my day. I dealt in a lot of that, so I'm pretty versed in what I need to look for. And I caught him. I caught one. Once I caught that demon, man, I saw him. And it was like a, it was like a. Let me. Some of you might think I'm nuts, but I'm trying to tell you this is reality, and I've seen in my past, I've seen others, but this last recent one that caused a lot of this problem, now, me personally, divisions and things like that, I caught him. I didn't say anything, but once you see it, he's exposed, and that's it. It just goes off, goes wild, starts going all over the place and starts attacking. You understand? Because you caught the game, you understand? And you caught him, you saw him. He screwed up, he messed up, okay? But I saw it was like the size of a toothpick, okay? At a certain point, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but at a certain time, I saw it like a lightning bolt, okay? The size of a toothpick. It's that small too, thin, but it was like a lightning bolt. Zip! It just entered, okay, in an eye and came out the other one quick, just flash. It's just a flash. But I just happened to look because I felt it, and I looked and I seen it, and I caught him. Okay, now just telling you. But anyway, somebody listening out there now knows. But there's a satanic agenda out there. There's high people in these cults and these things. They're putting out their stuff that, these spells and the love spells and beauty spells. And that's not to make you beautiful. That's to take away, to age you and to take away your looks. Okay. Love spells, come get me spells, or pick me spells, things like that. And it might separate your marriage, and you wonder why he went over there or she went over there, and everything was fine, but all of a sudden something changed. That's what it was, and they're off with somebody else that they don't really even care about. They just, it's like zombies walking off to this. That's because they got in there. These things are, if you're vulnerable to it and you're weak, and that's not a detrimental, I'm not saying it in a detrimental way, like they're weak people, no. There's a weakness, okay? Everybody's got weaknesses, okay? There's weaknesses. Trying to find them is a whole different story. This is what you got to hide from them, you understand? But once you get to a certain level, there's no weaknesses. But you got to separate. And once you're on your own, that's the hard part. But we'll get to that. So we got to understand, it comes with lies, and I made some notes, by the way. I never write anything down. I let the Spirit speak, but I didn't want to lose the order. Okay, so I just made quick little notes. That's why I'm looking down. I don't want to lose the order. This is important. Okay, and this is probably going to be a long video. It's there's no way I can help it. I'll just have to edit later and chop it up. But we're fighting this satanic agenda. Okay, it's real, people. You might see changes that have been happening in your relationships, in your home, in your kids, in your children, in your friends, things like that. And, the smiles have changed. They're smiling, but the smiles have changed. They're a little bit different. The looks are a little bit different, a little bit, kind of strange. You're just seeing some strange things happening, at work even. Your co-workers, things like that. And then they come up and ask you different questions, weird questions, and they want the information, that they shouldn't, and it's all behind smiles. Well, what are you doing now? And and they start picking your brain. Watch what you're answering. Don't be giving people information. Okay. You guys got to stop that. I know it's a friendly thing. It's been a friendly thing, but you got to stop that until you realize who they truly are. Okay, because this stuff is being taken back to these practitioners. You understand? And, there's a lot of these tarot readers too, man. You know, you got your people going to these tarot readers and stuff like that. I mean, there's good ones, okay? Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of them, you know, they're working in the wrong way. So you just got to watch it. You kind of use the power. You got to get, power of discernment, man. You got to develop this power so you can tell, and sometimes you play in, you know, and this is a little thing I always use, you play into the game, you just walk in like you're all stupid and dummy, you know what I mean? And you play into the game and let yourself be used, you understand, to a certain point so you can get it. And you got to keep your eyes open and watch. Don't ever sign off. In my past, I walked through a lot of it, man, deep. They've been after me for a lot of years because they've known what I was going to be. You understand? Way back there. And I wasn't quite aware of it, but they knew, okay? They do their research, okay? It's just, it's limited, okay? I want to show you how to defeat this, man. And I had to figure it out. Because, otherwise they got a hold of you, man. They got a hold of you by the people you're around, your loved ones. They use your love against you. Okay. You ever watch, a lot of you have watched the Green Mile. You ever see a Green Mile? Okay. And John Coffey, that big monster of a man, and he went and told the guard, when he came up to, and he says they used, he was in tears. He says I'm tired. They use their love against them all over the world every day. They use their love against them, and he knew he was getting this stuff. That's like me. And some of us, a lot of us, this collective, these light workers. Okay. That's how it is, and it affects people different. But he was saying it's like glass in your mind all the time because he sees and he feels this pain of people. It's crazy, people, I'm telling you. But once you get there, you've got to make that commitment. But anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about. We'll get to that point. I don't want to jump the order here. Okay, so it starts with lies. They're going to be lies. So they might take your family member and they're paid. They pay them. They pay them. It's like Judas. They pay them, and they put these spells on them to come in, and they induct them. And when they're at a weak point, flash that money or flash this or a land or a house or whatever. Yeah, I know. Okay, and we're gonna get to that on the tail end, but they know what I'm saying. Don't think I don't know. So, and they're bribed, and later it's used as a blackmail to keep them. Okay, so they can't run. You understand? They can't run. So they put these spells on them to weaken them, and they're out like little minions, like robots. So they'll come in and get close to your wife or get close to your husband or whatever, and they get in their ear and they talk this. Pretty soon they make this offer. You know what I'm saying? And the offers have been made to me. They tried everything. They've tried all kinds of stuff, through the years, and me, I just play it stupid. I don't know. I really don't, what I mean? But anyway, but I'm watching. So, and learning different things, how they move, you know what I mean? So until it gets to the point, that's it. But they create this, and these lies and everything. And by the time you realize your marriage is broke up, or your friendships are broke up, or your job has been lost, or your house has been lost, or your car has been lost, and all these things are happening. Your children are turning on you, things like this. Okay. And they use their friends, their children at schools and stuff like that, and then use them. And that's what really pisses me off is they're using these kids, man. And, there's a lot of child trafficking. There's a lot of human trafficking, period. They'll traffic your husband. They'll traffic your wife. I mean, they don't care. there's no empathy. There ain't none of that. They're about the money. They're about the money, and whatever they can take, take. They take. They just take. They're takers. That's it. You know, and it's this overall control thing that they want. That they want to control. Okay, in a big volume. They want to control, and that's why we got to fight. And there's so much of us, the light workers and the workers of the light, that working in the Almighty, man, in the Spirit. That's why this guy here, he don't get defeated, man. I carry him everywhere, and he was given to me from birth. I didn't realize him till I got up in my, a little older, in my 10, 11 years old. I realized, but I didn't know what it was exactly. I didn't even have a name for it at the time, but that's when he come about. It birthed in me, in my mind, so you've got it too, but you haven't realized it, and they don't want you to wake up. That's why they keep you down. So with mental things that they throw at you. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep you weak. They want to keep you weak and weakened, and they'll use whoever. It's your husband may become very narcissistic. Your wife may become very narcissistic all of a sudden. You can't even talk anymore. You used to be able to talk. Now you can't talk. You bring up anything, she goes off or he goes off, and you can't talk. And then you think, they turn it around and try to make you the villain and all of this, and try to make you at fault on everything. So you're apologizing for things you didn't even do. You're just trying to keep the peace. Okay. Well, if you realize it, you can do that, and just, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and play along with this, man. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what I did. But it's so I'm going to tell you how to do this. But I'm telling you, they're all listening, because they're going, man, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for, because we can use it. That's okay, folks. What I'm going to tell you is total protection. Don't worry about it, okay? You just do it the way I tell you, okay? And you'll be good. So don't worry about it. And they, because I know they're watching. And they, oh, man, now, yeah, this is what hey, get over here, man. This is what we've been waiting for. How he did it, how he's defeating us, okay? It doesn't matter. This is a secret that remains a secret, even if you tell it. Okay? That's never been understood. I've told a certain person that for a long time, and it's never really been understood. Okay? Now, there's stuff that it's time to bring out, the things I couldn't say before. Okay? It wouldn't have been understood anyway. You know what I mean? It's just too many words. But they create this psychological mountain in your life. Okay? It creates a psychological mountain that it looks too big for you to climb. That's why it keeps you down in the anxiety and depression, and just in wonderment, and just lack of self-worth, and lack of your demeanor changes, and it keeps you down at a very low level. That's what they want. The lower you get, the weaker you are, the easier you are to manipulate. You understand? Once you know this, you can use it and let it happen. Just let it happen. If you're strong enough, you let it happen and just keep your eyes open and take all of that. You're going to take some pain, you know what I mean? But that's okay, because you're going to be ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to come out victorious, okay? Just listen to what I'm saying. So we're working on the what. This is the how. I mean, the how, what, and why, okay? I should have started off with this, but we're going to name this video. That's what we're going to name it. The how, what, and why. But that order is going to be mixed up. So we're doing the what first. Okay. I want to change the order up a little bit. So your reaction is what brings the karma. Okay. Your reaction. So they feed off of the anger. They feed off of your frustration. They feed off of your rage, your emotion. That's what they're doing. They're harvesting energy. You understand? They feed off your negative energy. So that's what you want to not do. Okay? That's what you want to not do. It's so hard for people. I'm telling you, especially women. Especially women. You women, watch. You're a ball of emotion compared to a man. Okay? It's easier for a man to control his emotion than it is for a woman. And we all got triggers, don't get me wrong. But you got to remember this. If you're having those problems, this is why. They're feeding off of it, and you're making them stronger in your situation. You're seeing weird things happening, and you can't figure out what the heck, man. That's what's happening. You go off, an emotion hits, and you go off at your children, or you go off at your husband or at your wife. You know, they're feeding off of that. They actually feed like a vampire. That's what they are. They're energy vampires. You understand? This is real, people. I'm telling you, they're energy vampires, and they don't. If you don't give them that, you starve them. You understand? You starve them, but you got to stay strong because they're going to keep attacking. They're going to keep wanting. Okay, so they create this off of your reaction. Off of your reaction is what they feed off of. Okay, if it's negative, so you don't want to go negative. That was hard. That was hard. Man, I worked on it for years. Rage was installed in me. Okay, from my youth, my youth, a lot of abuse and stuff. There was a rage that was installed in me. It took me years and years, man. Hard. It was hard to control that. I had a temper that had no ceiling, man. I hurt a lot of people. Boy, they were eating that up. But I wasn't aware of all this, really. You know what I'm saying? I was aware of spiritual, spiritual wars. You know what I mean? But in an overall, I didn't know any specifics really, to where I could actually be totally aware of it being attacked on me personally as singled out. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of hard to explain, but anyway, it creates a karma. Okay, it creates a karma for the people. Okay, you understand? That's what they want. But if you're able to do this, it turns around. You can turn this karma around. You understand? I used to just. And it goes back and it hits them. The very thing they're sending at you, these beauty spells. And these beauty spells are not to make you look better. It's to make you look worse. Okay? Suck your energy. And you'll see people that have been suffering bad. They're looking bad. They were looking good the other day. Now they're just looking bad. It's a lot of it's because of this. Okay? Pick me spells or come get me spells, stuff like that. The sexual stuff, that they'll apply to your husband, your wife, your children. It just depends. You know what I mean? And it's a lustful. It's not just a craving for sex. It's a lustful, man. If you see my face when I say it, it's lustful. It's a nasty. You know what I mean? Emotion or type of spell that they put out. Do you understand? It's a love spell, but it's not about love. So. Things like that. And if somebody's weak, they have a door open, they have a weakness, they'll enter. You understand? So knowledge, the Lord always said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I'm saying it now. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Okay? And that's what it is. You just, lack of knowledge, this stuff, if you're aware of it, then you can battle it, right? If you know your enemy, you can battle it. So that's what I'm trying to do, people. I'm trying to teach you about the enemy that's on you every day, okay? And you're walking blind because, life might be good and you're given, a nice lawn and you're given a nice car and you're given a nice job and you're given a nice house and, hey, everything's going good. There ain't nothing happening. It's a setup, okay? You got to watch it if you want to keep that. Got to watch it, because I'm trying to tell you, it'll go like that. It'll go like that. Okay? They want that. They'll take everything you got, and they'll go through your husband, they'll go through your wife, they'll go through your kids, they'll go through whoever they can get to you, your friends to get to you. They want that, because if you're the head of it, if you're the head of the show, that's what they want. The rest don't really matter. They're usable, and they're disposable. But whoever they use, they lie to them, and they promise them, oh, look what we're offering, this big ball of money, this land, the house, or whatever, look, and they'll go for it, which is a terrible thing, and it's going to break your heart. It's going to break your heart, but you're going to have to go through this in order to survive it. You're going to have to go through this and possibly save them. You understand? If they fall into it, it's just a fact, people. And you gotta know what you're battling. It's not just people just get tired. Open your eyes. You gotta open your eyes. It's somebody loving you like you're God's. You're God's gift to the planet. For years. One day, and then all of a sudden you're a piece of crap, and this. You think that's just what they just flipped all of a sudden? No, they've been working on this. They've been working on this. You understand? Somebody's been in there talking it. You gotta watch out who they're hanging out with. I'm telling you, it's enough to, it really gets me, man. What really gets me is when they use the kids, and they're trafficking them kids too. There's a lot of it going on. There's big groups, man, that are doing this. They're buying them, You believe that? They're buying them, man. And you've heard of it, but it's happening in your hometown. It's happening. Oh, that wouldn't happen here. That's over there in the big city or something. I'm telling you, it's happening down the street. You don't know. It's probably happening next door. They're probably part of it next door. You don't know, man, because you're not aware. You're just driving along every day, go to work, come back, paycheck, boom, boom, your little routine. You know what I mean? You're not being aware. They like it like that. They like you to walk in darkness. That's without knowledge. They like you to walk in that. You're walking blind. Okay, so we handled the what. The what? You know what the what is? It's a satanic agenda, okay? Now, we're going to get to the how everybody wants to know about. It's going to take work, people. And you're going to have to get off some of your butts, man. You're going to have to get off to do it, and you're going to have to be strong. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take a lot of self-discipline, but you can do it. And then you can come back and attack this, all right? And this is the part that got me, and I had to separate. I had to break my own heart, man, and I had to break hearts to do it. And I couldn't say, this is what I'm doing. I just had to do it because it's the only way to help. Do you understand? It's the only way I could help. I had to break my own heart. I had to sacrifice myself. And that was the hardest thing. And it affects me to this day. You understand? Excuse me. I had to sacrifice myself. But what I'm doing it for, is worth it. Do you understand? And there's parts that I had to sacrifice I might not ever have back. Okay? But that's okay. Those parts are going to be safe. You understand? Sorry, I mean this stuff, people. It's just, they don't care how much it hurts you or whoever you love. They don't care. And I'm telling you, I wish they'd come to my face. I wish they'd come to my face because I'm willing to die to keep them. If they're willing to die to take them, you understand me? And that's me. And I'm telling you, I don't care. I know what it means, what means to me, And that's just me. You don't have to be that way, but that's the way I am, but they won't. They're cowards. They're all cowards, they're cowards, and they got to do that. You see what, they got to do that like they did Charlie Kirk, man. Look at that. But what the heck did he do? What did he do? You know what I mean? You think that didn't piss me off? That pissed a lot of people off. Look at what they try to do to Trump, But they got to do it at a distance because they're chicken shit, No, I'm sorry. I'm getting, I just get riled up, man. I'm telling you. And they better hope I never find them in my face. I'm telling you. I don't care who they are. Because at some point, they're going to try to approach me somewhere. You know what I mean? They don't. They try to use your loved ones. They sneak in the back and they send them out there like little robots, That just angers me to all get out, boy. I'm telling you. So to neutralize, that's what we got to do. It's this aggression that they feed off of, people. You understand? So you're going to have to, in order to learn this and to rise to the point where you can defeat this, okay? And you're going to be able to do it. They won't be able to figure you out, okay? They're still trying to figure me out. Every time they do, I'm 5-10 steps ahead of them already, okay? It just looks like I'm standing there. That's the, come on in here. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And then poof. You hear what I'm saying? That's how you learn. You just learn one more thing. And they're just building me up. All they're doing is they're building me up. Do some more, man. Give me some more. Make me even bigger. They don't realize that. They're too hungry. They're greed. Their fangs are out. They're vampires. They're energy vampires, people. Remember that term, energy vampires. Okay. So you want to be able to neutralize this aggression. You want to neutralize it, okay, to where it doesn't have the power. You want to take the wind out of the sails. So let me give you an example. If you got something you did, something you carry in a secret or something that it's only a secret because it's not something you really want to put out there or something like that, and maybe they know or whatever, it might affect your marriage. It might affect, a relationship over here, a relationship over there or something like that, or, whatever it may be. The thing to do is to take it. That's why you got to do your shadow work. Okay. Go back and analyze yourself and do your shadow work. Excuse me a second. Okay. Do your shadow work so you can get these things cleaned up. Put it out there first. You put it out there first. Put it out there first. Make an announcement to whoever, some people, because it's going to spread. You know how people are, man. They think, they can't help but spread, You can light a match at one end of town, and by the time you get over, it's a forest fire. By the time you get to the other end of town, It's ridiculous. That's how people are, especially in smaller towns. They got nothing better to do. That gossip is ridiculous, but that's what's used. A lot of that's used. They want to spread those lies, and when it's a loved one of yours doing it, that breaks your heart, man. But they're not really completely guilty of that. They're being manipulated. You know what I mean? They don't realize. Later they will, but you got to do what I'm fixing to tell you. So that's what you want to do. That's the idea. You want to neutralize it. That's what you want to do, is neutralize this aggression, okay, that's coming at you, and it's a psychological warfare, okay? It's a psychological warfare. You got to get psychological with this, man. You know, you got to get psychological. It's like, in that movie, Training Day, when Denzel had that shotgun. He goes, I'm surgical with this baby, you know, and that's what you got to be. You got to be surgical with this, you got to be surgical with it. Okay. And so in this psychological warfare, so we're dealing with how. This is what we're dealing with. How. Okay. Everybody want to know how. So you're going to have to execute separation. That's all there is to it. Okay. And it's going to break your heart. And some people aren't going to understand it. And some people are going to get ticked off at you. You're going to be hated for this or that. You're going to be called all kinds of names. You're going to be accused of abandonment. You're going to be accused of all kinds of things. But, a narcissist, and actually the narcissist is what caused all this. There'll be narcissistic things that come out. But once you see this demonic, you expose it. Once you see it and it's exposed to you, that's what did it. Okay? That's what did it. And you gotta keep your eyes open. And eventually it's going to slip up. They're going to slip up somewhere. Okay? And that's, in my case, just to put it out bluntly, that's what happened. I seen it. I caught it. And that's where he went off, boy. That sucker didn't know what to do. They don't want exposure, that demonic, that little demon. And it's like a toothpick. It was like check this out. You're going to think I'm crazy, but, you go ahead and think what you want. I know the reality of it. I've dealt with it, and I've dealt with it before also, but it manifested in different. Okay, it was like a lightning bolt. You see a toothpick. You see how thin it is and little. That toothpick, that's what it was. It's a lightning bolt, and I didn't say anything. But I saw it, and he knew I saw it. That demon knew I saw it, and he just lost it. It just exploded. There was an explosion, boy. And all this stuff started coming out. Okay. And it entered the eye of someone. And quick. It was just a flash, like just quick, like that fast. But I caught it because I felt it. It felt it. The spirit just lifted my head to see the eyes, man. Turned my eye to see it and caught it. Like that. And caught in one eye like that and went out the other. Quick. Just fast. It was just a flash. It's like a little lightning bolt. Zip. And the person like woke up. It was like a activation button was pushed. Do you understand? I just didn't say anything. I couldn't. Spirit told me, don't say anything. You're going to use it later, and I did. But I had to do exactly what I'm telling you here. So you're going to have to separate and you're going to have to detach in order to save people. You're going to have to. It's the only way you can save them. Because if you stick around, that's what they're using. Okay? That's what they're using. They're using your energy. You got to pull your energy back. You understand? And it's a hurtful thing, but you're going to have to do it for growth. That's the only way you can do it. And you're going to be able to grow. Okay? And you isolate yourself, a lot of self-discipline, get within yourself. Because there's going to be people trying to attach themselves, trying to come to you. You all right? You doing all right? You this or that? Well, don't give people information. Don't give people information. Be courteous and tell them, well, yeah, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm just going through some things. Don't worry about it. Just don't give them information. You understand? That could come later. At the time, you need to isolate and just take your time. It's going to take months. It might take months. You don't know how quick it'll come, but you get within yourself. You analyze yourself, and you got to do that shadow work so that you clean all that stuff up. You got to be clean, okay? You can't have anything that it can be used. So you got to take the wind out of the sails. All these little things. You got to look back and take all these little things and take the wind out of the sails. It's all out there. Ask me, whatever. Yeah, I used to do drugs. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. And what? I paid for all my stuff. Everything I got, everything I've done paid for it. and then some. I paid for other people's things. You know, I paid for other people's things over and over and over my whole life, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, I got credit somewhere. You know what I mean? Because I've never come from malice from my heart. You know, you understand me? I'm not. I'm just not built like that. If I want to cause detriment, you know, it's I like old Scarface said. You know, I never screwed anybody over that didn't have it coming. You know what I mean? They entered me. You know, so what I'm going to do? I'm just going to lay there? No, I'm going to defend myself. You know, so that's the way I am. You know what I mean? But you know what he say? You know, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. You know, that's a deep statement there. I bet a lot of people, 99 out of 100 people, don't understand that statement. That's pretty deep statement, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Okay, but you got to be in a certain lifestyle to really, you know, it's kind of usable. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that. But anyway, you gotta have to separate and detach. Anything sent to you, these spells, okay, this voodoo and all this stuff. They'll use voodoo dolls, and they'll use whatever they, you know, conjuring stuff, and crystal balls, and they'll go to practitioners to do these spells, and of course they're getting paid. They're getting raped out of their own money. You know, some of them go broke. You know, and if it's any of you, they're using your money. You know, hey, honey, can I have $1,000? Can I have $500? Can I have this? How come you never have no money? Oh, I just, well, you let it go. You let it go. Where's the money going? You know what I mean? But they're getting drained. You understand? They're getting drained. So once you pull away, watch, you'll see what I'm talking about. And they're getting suckered. You know, it's all about the money, man. They want that money, anything they can take. You know, these people. You know, these outfits. Okay, these cults. They're little cults. They're cults, man, and they're within churches too. You know, I mean, you think there's whole churches that's a cult. You know, you just don't know it because they got this face. They got these masks. They wear these masks, but you're gonna pull the mask. Okay, so listen to what I'm saying. So you want to send anything they send to you. You'll feel it. You'll get to the point in your isolation. You'll get to the point where you'll feel these things. You'll feel these coming. And some you don't even have to feel. It's just the fact of your action, of what you're doing, in your shadow work. Just that fact puts this protection around you. Okay? It's not real strong yet, but it's you've got a shield of protection around you because you're working on it. Okay? And it'll naturally send back and start speaking it. You know, I send back anything. If you can kill it off, like if a certain you hear about it, or somebody put a curse, you know, they throw a curse your way, for example, you know, you can kill it as it approaches you, kill it as soon as you hear about it or feel it or whatever. You can kill it, even if you just speak it ahead of time. You can kill it right there, or you can send it back. And that's what I started doing because I got tired of it. Usually I just killed it, you know, and but now, here lately, I've been sending it back. And what that does, whatever they send to you attaches to them. Okay? And they can't fight it. It's their own so-called power attacking them. So the devil, if you want to put it that way, that's why I say the devil works for me. You know, if I deem it so, he works for me. He's not above me. I'm above him. You understand? I get the authority from the Almighty. You understand me? I'm the authority in the light. I am the light. You know what I mean? There's no way darkness can overwhelm me. I am the light. You understand? And I get the authority from the Almighty. Same with you, people. Same with you. I'm no different from you. You can have it too. But you got to believe in it. You got to use it. You got to utilize it, and you'll see it works. It can't touch you. Oh, there's things are going to happen to you in life and stuff, and natural things are going to happen. But, overall, it can't take you. It can't take you, consume you. You understand? That's what they were trying to do, is consume you and everything you got. So what you do is you do the opposite. You do the opposite. Once you start learning this, you do the opposite. So they want aggression off of something that, they'll use people that try to trigger you, your wife, your husband, your kids, or your friends, whatever, to try to trigger you. Well, don't let it trigger you. Hold on to your emotion. Women have a big problem with this. Women have a big problem because women are a ball of emotion. They're the emotion of this earth. They're a ball of emotion. So they go off on their emotion all the time. It's easier for a man to control his emotions, most men. So, but you got to learn to control them. And you ladies out there, you got to learn this, because pretty soon you're a screaming banshee, and you're screaming at your kids, you're screaming at your husband, you're screaming, everybody's pissing you off, you're pissed off at everybody except when you go out in public. Oh, you got this face, boy, you got this beautiful, you're such a sweetheart, It's already entered. You understand? This is what's happening. I'm cluing you in. If you start fighting it early, you can defeat it. Okay? You men, you husbands, realize it. Look at the red flags. If you start fighting it early, you can defeat it. Excuse me. I got a book coming out. I don't know when it'll come out, but I've been busy with other things. But I got a book coming out. People are going to, there's going to be a lot in it, a lot of details. And but anyway, you want to do the opposite. So anytime you feel triggered by any comment or things like that, because your buttons are known by somebody. Somebody knows all your buttons, especially the closest ones to you. So if they can get to them, it's easier to work you. You understand? And manipulate you. That's what they want to do. They want to break you down to a low vibration, okay, to where you can be used, okay? That's what they want to do. Once you get to a certain point in strength, you can fake that. You can fake it. You understand? And just take it. It's going to be painful. Some of it's going to be painful. Name calling and things like that from the ones you love, but you take it. You may buck a little bit, but don't go too far, because they feed off of that emotion. Remember, they feed off of that aggression. Okay. They feed it. I'm telling you, they're vampires. Energy vampires. So don't give that energy. Don't feed them. You'll starve them, okay, in your life. And you'll be able to learn to anticipate the next move. You'll start getting the feed. The spirit will start feeding you this information. I'm telling you, you'll start getting this information. Just be aware. Sometimes you get I get, you ever just sitting there, all of a sudden you get your left ear start ringing, to where it cocks your head a little bit. It's a ding, just all of a sudden out of the blue, your left ear start ringing, or maybe your right ear start ringing, and then it fades away. With me, I always, it start ringing, I always hit, and then I ask for clarification, because that's a download. To me, that's a download, but it's coming in a language you don't understand. Do you understand? And, I ask for clarification, and it might not come immediate, but it comes later. Okay, this is what it is. You hear what I'm saying? It sounds sci-fi, guys, but it is. That's because it is. But I'm trying to teach you how to jump out of the matrix, actually. You've heard of the matrix? You're in a dream, baby. You want to jump out of the matrix. You want to be able to, transmute. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm showing you. That's what I'm teaching. I'm giving you some specifics on how to transmute energy. Okay? Negative energy into a positive. And you can be an alchemist. This is alchemy, man. Some of you understand what I'm saying. Others, look it up. Okay? Look it up. It's alchemy. It's transmuting energy. Okay. And you guys want to know how, so I'm trying to tell you. That's how you do it, but just work to it. You're just not going to, okay, I want it, and you have it. You're going to have to work at it. Okay. If you really want it, if you really want it, if you really want it, you're going to have to work at it. Okay. You're going to have to work at it. We'll see how bad you want it. You know what I mean? See how bad you want it. Okay. And don't worry about how you're going to do it. Okay. When you transmute, we're transmuting energy for clarity. Okay. And it's done. All this is done, people, with your own thought. Okay. It's done with your own thought. All right. But you got to back your thought. You got to back your thought. And you're going to have to cut your heart off. Not out, but off. You're going to have to cut it off at a certain point of certain things, because you're going to have to sacrifice, some things that's going to hurt. And you're just going to have to learn how to transmute that energy, man, how to transmute that pain into knowing you're doing it for the better good. Yeah, I mean, that's just all there is to it. And it's going to be painful, but it's more painful. The alternative is even more painful, because you're going to be left alone. A lot of these homeless people that are out there on the street, and I've met a lot of them, man. I've taken the time and I've talked to them. There's some good people out there, man, and they don't understand what happened. This is what happened to them. This is what happened to them. And they had everything, man. I know an engineer, man. This guy was millionaire, He's an engineer and stuff. He had this fantastic house and cars and wife and kids, everything, man. Grandpa, the whole bit, man. I sat and talked to him one day, and I had to stop. The Spirit told me to go talk to that guy. So I did. I kept seeing him every day, walking around, and just, I'd go, something about him stood out from all the other ones, So I went over and sat down with him one day. Hey, man, what's your name? So-and-so. And, we got to talking, and I bought him something to eat and stuff. And, I got talking to see what his story was, man. He told me all this story. It was crazy, but it was this. This is what happened to him. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what happened, but it was too late already. You hear what I'm saying? It was too late. And that's where they want you. That's where they wanted me. They wanted me out in the street, broke and hungry and with nothing. The shirt on my back, and would have took that if they could. That's how they wanted me. And for it to be your loved ones involved, you think that don't hurt? You think that doesn't hurt? That rips you apart, man. That just rips you apart. But when that heart is severed from the cords from your heart, and that empathy, those cords of empathy are severed in your loved one by this demonic, they don't feel that. So you can't really, once you understand it, you can't really put the complete blame on them, because they're being manipulated, but they did make the choice to go over there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's up to you guys how you handle that. You either forgive it or you don't, but it's up to you guys. But it hurts. I understand. But you use your own thought. You're transmuting this energy, okay, for clarity. Okay? You transmute this energy. That's how you receive clarity. You'll get this clarity and go, oh, yeah, okay. I see it. I see it now. I see it. I see what it is. And the more you learn, the stronger you're going to get. Everything will backfire. Okay? Everything will backfire. You become unreachable. You understand? Let the spirit lead you. Let the Spirit lead your steps. You got to ask all the time. It's going to be like a mama. I'm telling you. Mama and a daddy combined, riding on your shoulder all the time. Do not try to make your own decision. You're going to get to that point where it's okay. What is it, Spirit? What is it? Me, I let this lead me. That's the spirit. Okay. And that's the symbol for mine. Okay. My mascot, if you, for lack of a better word. All right. Dragon. That's it. And I had to name him, and it just came up, and everywhere nowadays. Isn't it funny? Nowadays, to me, it's like everywhere you look, it's dragons, 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 dragons everywhere. They got beds made of dragons, tables that represent dragons, and the fireplaces. I've seen some beautiful stuff, man. Dragons everywhere. I love it. I love it. It thrills me to see that because it's just confirmation everywhere I look, But it's been with me before any of that come about, and I know it's real. I know it's real. And, that's me. I mean, I didn't just self-proclaim me. I didn't self-proclaim dragon. It just came, and that's what it was. And one day I said, what is this? I'll name it dragon, For some reason, I was always into dragons as a little boy. So, but then now I know the reason. So anyway, clarity, okay? Clarity. So once you get that and you let the spirit lead your steps, you become unreachable. Okay? They can't reach you, man. You climb to a point where you can't be reached. They're looking for that guy. Watch. See if this makes sense. They're looking for that guy that you were. You have jumped timelines. Do you understand? You're working at a whole different timeline. They don't know that because they don't have that information. Do you understand? You're not there, so they can't work you. Your people they got to work and get that info, they've lost touch with you. That's what you got to do, And that's all there is to it. If you're serious about wanting to save them, you understand? You're going to have to do it because other than that, you're going to lose them anyway, because they're taking them, they're taking them, and you're not going to know what to do. That's why I'm giving you this information, people. I'm giving you the weapon. I'm giving you the weapons to use. It's only one weapon. At the end of the day, it's only one weapon, and that's the spirit. But you've got to accept it, bring it into yourself, and then be that. And project it. Do you understand? Project it. And anywhere you go, man, and project it. Because pretty soon you won't be what you used to be. You'll be this. You understand? You'll be that. That's what you'll be. You hear me? You'll be the light. You have to project it. It won't be in within. It'll be from without. Okay. All right. Now you'll become unreachable. You understand? And everything will backfire. Everything they try for you, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. It'll all backfire. It'll boomerang. Everything they send you away, it'll boomerang. It'll come right back and it'll attach to them after a certain point. Okay? You don't have to do anything. And this is what you've probably got, people in government and other three-letter outfits, that are looking at you going, man, we gotta have to study this guy, see what's up. We could use that, But don't try to get me to dissect me, man. I ain't going with it. I'll battle that sucker. I ain't going for that. This is God given. You want to dissect the Lord? That's what you're going to have to do. Dissect the spirit, because that's all there is. That's the answer. There's no, I don't have a script. It's the closest I could get to it like this. I had to put this together for you people to try to help you understand and help people. That's what my goal is. Ultimate goal is to help people, and I'm looking for funding to where, now to where I can expand to a high professional setting, okay, and I've got the ideas on how to do it. I just, and the Spirit will bring it, when it's time, and I believe in that to where I can get the funding to where I want call-ins. I want a call-in system, where I can get instant call-ins. I want people helping me next to me, a couple of mics and stuff next to me. I don't want to be the only one, There's people, some of you out there got some heavy material, man, that can help me, and help people, what I mean, and help me in what I'm doing. I'm more than willing, man. you know, Email me, let me know, and I'll, I'm not set for it right now, but there'll be paying positions. I mean, we should benefit somewhat from it. You know what I'm saying? But you never know what somebody out there might be looking at, saying, hey, we can, you know, help this guy or whatever, help these people. You know what I mean? But it's all about helping people. So anyway, we'll see when it comes. The funding will come. But anyway, uh, so everything will backfire. At a certain point. All right, and you're going to surrender. It takes full surrender, people. It takes full surrender. You're going to have to completely surrender. You know, the thought, your actions, everything, man. And I don't mean you're going to walk like a saint. Okay, don't get this idea, man. You're still going to go, and you want to go at certain times sociably and go have a couple of drinks and party a little bit, or you want to go, don't go start getting on the stuff and get caught up on a roll with things. I'm talking, you want to go enjoy yourself, that's fine. It's not, don't be going on this, I've got to walk this saintly walk and do nothing. No, you're still got to live life, but your core, your center, your solid, the solidness, all that's temporary, right? The solid part of you is all about surrendered. You'd already surrendered your life, your life and your existence, okay, to the Almighty, to the Spirit. Do you understand? Everything else is, it's going to come. I mean, you're going to sit there and walk like a monk and act like a monk up in the cave, go live in a cave, and you know what I mean? It just, it'll feel like that sometimes, but you'll be all right. You understand? You can still just ease up and get leveled out and enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? But you're going to have to. And another thing, this is another thing. If you're married, and even if you're not, it'll help. Even if you're not, but especially if you're married, because you already got a commitment. No matter what she's doing or he's doing, be celibate. Do not go and start jumping into every sexual treat that you find. You understand? You can go enjoy yourself, but don't go there, okay? Because you're storing your energy. Do you understand? It's your energy, okay? You need that energy, your power. I know that's going to be hard for some people, but that's what's going to make you strong. It's going to help you stay stronger. All right? So I got to hurry here and get this done. All right. Now, you become unreachable. All right. And you're still walking human. And I wondered, for many times why at my age I look like I do. I've seen people that look younger than me that look way worse. And, they're, I feel good and I'm healthy, and I'm up there in age, and and I always wondered why the Lord saved me. Well, now I know, and this is why. So He will extend your life, and you've got a mission. You understand? So we've covered the how, and we're discussing the why, and that's for people. It's real simple. The why is for people, and that includes you, all your loved ones, all your children, all your family, everybody you're connected to. even strangers. Okay? There's the answer to that. That was real simple. Okay? If you got any questions, you got my email. Dragon Speaks for You with a number 4 and a letter U at gmail.com. And send something, and I'll see what I can do with it. You know what I mean? And try to help you out. And if you're serious about it, I know it's tough, people, but it's worth it. And I like I say, I got my email. Anybody wants to help me here in the future, please let me know. I mean, I welcome. Everybody's got something to say. Everybody's got knowledge. I myself learn from everybody. Shoot, I learned from my little granddaughter, little baby granddaughter. I've learned from there on up. You learn from you learn from everybody. Okay. So I don't claim to know all this stuff, and I just know what I know. Okay. But you know what you know. And if you can help in this, I'd be more than willing. It'd be awesome. Work together. And let's put something together. I need some help, man. You guys got ideas too, I need some help. So I would love it. I would enjoy it, and I think we can have fun with it, and at the same time provide for what we need to provide for, and serve the Almighty, man, and get our life right, and build His protection for us. Okay. So I love you guys, and I hope this was good for you. That's all I could do for now. There'll be more. I've got some other stuff coming, but so just you have a good one. Keep a lookout. Keep a lookout. All right, and don't watch them smiling faces in your life. Okay, watch those smiling faces. Just start working that power of discernment, and some people. Those red flags, they mean something. All right? I love you from Dragon. Have a good day.